Hello, this is Kara from Kara Tarot with a general reading for Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. I'm working with the Swagatam Tarot, and I'm just going to be doing a 6-card open reading spread today. The Swagatam Tarot has 5 suits. The 5th suit is Spirit. So I'll be interested to see if I get any of those cards today. The last couple times I've used this deck, I haven't gotten any of those Spirit cards. Having difficulty feeling any difference with these today. Okay. And there's the Spirit card. One of the nice things of this deck, they have also said that if you get the suit of Smoke, and if you're an I Ching familiar reader, you could also read that suit as Metal instead of Spirit. So I'll begin by reading them in order, and then we can look at them in some of the other pairings that come up. The Two of Wands is a decision. Two of Swords and Two of Wands have been coming up quite a lot lately. So this is a decision that needs to be made to move forward. All of the twos are some kind of decision, but this is a decision of whether you're staying where you are or you're going to be moving forward. It's also a period of preparation. So it may be that you are indeed preparing to move forward, but you're still preparing things. You're not quite ready to go. This, the Ten of Smoke, is a time of rest, just as winter is a time when things are lying fallow in the ground. The Ten of Smoke is a period of rest. It's also 10, so it is a completion of the season. Now this is of the spirit, restfulness of the spirit, and a sense of completion. So it could be a very fulfilling time in that you're contented and not feeling that you're feeling spiritually contented and spiritually complete. The Nine of Wands is a time when you're feeling burdened and not feeling that you can't necessarily go on. Now, one thing you'll notice about this deck, Swagatam, it's not particularly directional. You can get a little bit of a direction there. This doesn't really have a direction. This doesn't really have a direction. And none of these actually these are very kind of enclosed. Some of them do have directionality, but of these 6 cards, they don't. Because they all tend to be more like mandalas, and they all tend to be more about going inside. So continuing on, we have the 6 of Pentacles, which is generosity and sharing and giving what you have, whether it's of spirit. You could also it could be time, if this is coming here, right after this, it could be in response to this in terms of it really is time to start sharing your burdens. But Pentacles are about wealth and about material goods. So you could be sharing these material goods to help alleviate the burdens. The High Priestess, of course, is going inside. Again, even though it isn't a mandala shape, Going inside to listen to your intuition, looking deeply within. These are almost like reflections of each other, mind and heart looking at each other. Advising this generosity by using this intuition and this fullness of spirit. These two are interesting. They're very much about fullness of spirit. And then King of Smoke is an incredibly hopeful and optimistic card. It is enthusiasm. It is another kind of completion of the spirit. It is looking forward with bliss. Bliss is the key word for this. Happiness, laughter, love, and joy is the key word for this. Unending ecstasy, joy, bliss, happiness. The goal of life is to exist completely as this layer. This can be accessed by loving and caring for the self and others. So these two certainly lead up to this one. Now, if we're going to apply these as pairs, I've already talked about how these are both kind of completion and contentment. The Two of Wands as being preparatory and this as giving, that's an interesting pairing. We don't usually think about our time of preparation as a time of giving. But what if we could? What if we could, instead of just focusing on our own needs and our own preparation, feel that part of preparing ourselves is giving away some of what we are amassing, some of that preparation, some of that accumulation that usually goes with preparing oneself to step forward. That could be a real internal and external breakthrough for the day. And then if this card is a Nine of Wands, is often seen also as you're almost at the finish line, so don't give up. If you could apply this sense of bliss to the times when you're feeling like, oh, I just can't handle anymore. But if you're able in that moment to see the end goal as well, to give you additional purpose, that would be a lovely thing. So overall, this is telling you, if we're just looking at this, this is just a reading for today. And actually, let's check on that for a moment. Yes. Oh, here. High Priestess. This is the only major. So this is the brightest card. So this is going to be a long range thing. And of course it is, looking at your heart and your mind. I'm going to add an oracle card from the Rabbit Oracle. I think the colors of this will go very well here. And ironically, it is work. I was just saying, make an effort. And that is the reading for this card is to make an effort, which certainly goes with what we were saying about this Nine of Wands. It is that final push. So let's put it there. Let's put it off to the side of that card. It is that final push of making an effort that can lead to your bliss, but also the final push in itself could be blissful. It's a different slant, just as this being generous and giving of your resources to others during your preparation phase is a mind-blowing kind of thing. If you can think of this time of your almost not being able to make it, if you can think of that approaching your completion as being your bliss, and applying your work to that, that's also just a mind-blowing way to look at that. Now, before I go away, I want to do a reorganization by reading by color. Now, clearly, this is the brightest card. I mean, if you're looking at, just looking at these two stand out. They are the lightest and the brightest. So if we're reordering by color, I might have to have them overlap a little bit here. And I would kind of put these like this, because one's bright and one's light. If we're going just by lightness, that would move this one back more towards the center. So again, we have that bliss and ecstasy of the king, because I'm trying to think in black and white terms. This would read darker than this. That was part of the, how they did costuming in black and white films, is understanding that red is gray. Okay. So these are now at the center, this bliss and this going interiorly to your mind and heart, the melding of your mind and heart with your intuition. Again, these have paired up again in terms of the preparation of self leading to the ability to give others. So that changes that dynamic a little bit, because now it's leading there. And the Ten of Smoke, that rest period leading to the ability to get through this. And I think this would rest right here if we were just going with color. It would rest either there or here. Trying to see it as black and white in my mind's eye. So this is, the High Priestess is the work. The High Priestess is the major here. And this is the predominant work that will see you through these others. So two different ways to look at the cards that were dealt today, and looking at those things together. The concepts are the same. The angle of how we approach them is different. So it's either this is the work of trying to make this blissful, the completion, those last days of feeling like you're never going to reach the end. You're never going to get that editing done. And this ongoing work. So this is the daily work of today, because this is a daily reading. This is the daily work of today. Adding bliss to that. And even if in the end stages you can add a sense of rest into this, relaxing into that final push, making it blissful, and then the larger scheme. Your work is the work of the High Priestess. And let me add more from the guidebook on that. Wisdom, knowing right from wrong, the tug between the heart and the mind, between right and wrong, and your intuition. When we have mastery over our chitta, it becomes a tool of manifestation of unspeakable joy and keeps us in the center of peace, irrespective of what's happening around us. And the chitta is the combination of the mind and heart. So when we have mastery over that combination, including our intuition, that brings a sense of peace and bliss to the others. All right, well, interesting concepts today from the deep Swagatam Tarot. Thank you.